All right, I just had a great set of lessons with two of my students, and I just kind of wanted to do what I usually do, which is share some of the connections we were making with the internet. So I've done some lessons on triads. Triads are three-note versions of your chords. Why would you play three notes? Because it opens up the rest of the musical space in a band setting for other people to fill in notes that they want to add. If you're playing a G and you're playing all six notes, the bass player is really just repeating a note you're already playing. Now it's lower, so it still sounds good, but same thing with like these high notes, right? What if the singer, what if the singer is up there and singing that, right? You'll find that you'll get a fuller and richer and more interesting sound if maybe you just pick these few notes right here, right? I'm taking my major chord, bar chord shape, but I'm only playing the A, D, and G string, right? This is also really useful for solo guitar, because weirdly enough, when you're playing solo guitar, less is more. The less you're playing, the more pianistic and the more interesting it sounds. So what I want to talk about today is there's a lot of ways to learn your triads. And if anyone would like a lesson on this too, you can contact me, because they're not very hard to learn once you understand what's going on. Woo. And all that you do is you learn them on each string set. Here, 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 and here, right? So that opens up the guitar to you already, because you're like, oh, do I want to play a G here? Or do I want to play it here, or 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 here, right? You got all of these options, and it makes the guitar more exciting and more fun. Knowledge is power, right? But knowledge is also appreciation, and knowledge is also an expansion of your curiosity and an expansion of your gratitude. I think a lot about how physicists observe natural phenomena in the world, and if they're properly oriented in their craft, or maybe their study is a better word, their sense of wonder seems to be expanded. We might look at a rainbow or some sort of process and be like, oh, that's really cool. I know the term for it. But when they know how it actually works, every time that they experience it, there's much more. There's a deeper well that you're drawing from, right? So what I want to talk about today kind of piggybacks off of something I learned from Dan P. Music on YouTube. He gave this great lesson on spread triads. This connects to what I was talking about earlier about triads, and we're going to talk in particular about triads that you may already be familiar with, which is the triads on the D, G, and B string, right? Now these you might be familiar with because they're implied. Oh God, I always forget my diminished. Let's see if that's major. Where was I? There it is. I swear I know guitar. If you know how to play bar chords of major and minor shapes, all that you're doing is only playing the D, G, and B string from those shapes to get your chords. So G is 5-4-3, A minor is 7-5-5, B minor is 9-7-7, C is 10-9-8, D is 12-11-10, E minor is 14-12-12. Your F sharp diminished is 16-14-13, and then you're back up to your G, 17, 16, 15, right? So a spread triad is when you take one of the notes and you put it an octave higher. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this middle note and we're going to instead play it on our E string an octave higher. Right? You probably already know that octaves look like this on a lot of other string sets, but once you get up here, you just add it one up, right? So instead of playing 3, 4, that's the note we're gonna octave up. 3, 4, 5. Sorry. Instead of playing 5, 4, 3, you're gonna play 5, 3, 7. Now, this might seem hard at first for some people. If you angle your guitar, it's gonna be a little bit easier. But now we've got that same triad, right? We got a G, a B, and a D. Now we're going G, D, and the B's up there. So there's 2 shapes for it. Our major shape looks like this. Everything's sort of separated by a whole step, right? So that applies for our C major up here and our D major up here, right? Now let's think about how you make a minor chord, right? If you want to make a chord minor, you have to flatten the 3rd. So if you wanted to have a minor shape, all you gotta do is bring your pinky down, right? So what I like to think about is anchor notes, which is like which one of these notes here is my root. Your bottom note, your D string, is gonna be your root here. So I'm thinking, okay, I know that this is a G. I know to octave up a G from there is gonna be the 5th fret of my D string. So I'm thinking about do, 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 do. And I'm using that to orient my brain to then just put shapes on top of that, right? So if you know your chord scale, you know it goes major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. Right? So the first thing to do is to learn this spread triad chord scale. So everything that I talk about here is going to be a D string, a B string, and an E string. So you're going to go 5, 3, 7, that's your G. 7, 5, 8, that's your A minor. 9, 7, 10, that is your B minor. 10, 8, 12, that's your C major. 12, 10, 14, that's your D major. I know it's out of tune, bear with me. 14, 12, 15, right? That's your E minor. Your diminished is, your F sharp minor diminished is 16, 13, 17. And then your G, 17, 15, 19, right? So you want to get comfortable with that. Like going backwards too. Little mistakey here and there. You want to get comfortable going up and down with that. And then what I want to talk about in this lesson, which apparently it's taken me 8 minutes to get to, is the concept of what I like to call constellation notes. I might have stolen that phrase from someone, maybe even from Dan himself. Dan, I apologize if that's true. But constellation notes are sort of things that I think of that are in the orbit of a shape that I'm already fretting and can be easily played without really altering my shape too much. So for example, some of these shapes are not the best for what I'm talking about. The diminished one in particular is not very fun. But all that I'm doing is I'm taking notes that are already in the G major scale, or that I think of as being part of my my chord scales normally. And I'm just finding where they all are, and I'm practicing hitting them on my way up. So you can see here, I only have to move these fingers to do this for the major shape. So I'm going to give you the constellation notes as well. So with this shape, you can hit 3, 5, and 7 on your B and E string. right? On your minor one, there's still a symmetry. It's 5-7-8 and 5-7-8, right? Here's where the symmetry breaks. Oh no, actually, still symmetry. 7-8-10 and 7-8-10. It's hard with this one because to stretch down here, sometimes I accidentally flat that. So you can maybe kind of cheat. Right? Symmetry here too. 12, 10, 8, 12, 10, 8, right? Symmetry breaks here. You've got 14, 12, 10, and 13, 12, 10. Because there's a C note in our G major scale, but there's not a C sharp. This one right here will have 15, 14, 12, and 15, 13, 12. Your diminished has 17, 15, 14, 17, 15, 13. And then up here, symmetry 2. Why is this useful and fun? You could use it to make a riff. Let's say someone's going, right? 1, 2, 3, 2. That's my progression. G major 7, A minor 7, B minor 7 to A minor 7. You could take these shapes that you know. You could automatically come up with some sort of figure, some sort of riff. Right? It gives you places to add things on. Forgive me, I'm not in my most creative mode right now. Teaching 7 days a week will do that to you sometimes. But I hope that this kind of makes sense. This idea of, I've been trying to build these things, even though these lessons are at random, I've been trying to sort of build the concepts out, from a scale to chord scale, to, triads, to now spread triads. So, again, if you want an expansion on these thoughts, if you have some questions about them, if you want to kind of figure out how to use them, apply them, or if you just sort of missed any of the things you need to know for this lesson to make sense, or I didn't explain it in a way that made sense to you, always hit me up. All I do is lessons these days, and I have some slots. So, I hope that this free one makes sense and kind of gives you some cool stuff to think about. These voicings are very, very cool because they're not common for guitarists. And they also, because they're so spread out, they leave a lot of holes for other instruments to fill in. Okay, I am tired. I've been teaching all day. It's now over. I'm going to go eat some food and then go to band rehearsal. Hope everyone is well.